friends, this is something I wanted to give you a little bit more in detail understanding of what's behind the new frequency therapy module. And here you see the setup just for the traditional Rife therapy or Zappa Hulda-Clark therapy, and that's basically based on here same frequency on both channels and a single frequency. So the idea that they had for the last 50 years was that if you shoot at a virus or bacteria with a certain frequency, you blow it up. and that's the whole philosophy behind really Rife therapy, and it's in a way understandable. He came up with this idea in the time when antibiotics was very, very popular, and the idea of we can get control over our internal environment with really by allopathic means. Now we can see this is not working even for antibiotics, and it really was never the reason why Rife and therapy worked. That's my understanding why Rife therapy worked, was simply that it agitated the energetic system of the body, just like a hot and cold shower agitates the energy system of the body. So when you put in energy, it agitates it, and then you are more awake, or your energy system is more awake to deal with all the stimuli that come from outside in form of maybe bacteria or viruses. But it's not that we can kill with those small energies anything, nor the idea that it has to be a specific frequency, that this frequency would penetrate all the body and reach exactly this frequency, the virus, is just so naive that really no conventional science has ever even looked at it, because it's measurably not the case. So, but you can do this. You can use here same frequency on both channels, single frequency, and then you can set here the waveform, let's say sine wave, and then you can just start. So now we have 440 Hertz here, and you can run this. That's the most basic frequency generator method. But now what really makes this core system different is that you can not only use frequencies that are somewhere recorded in a book that they helped somebody 20 years ago for someone with the same disease name. You can also scan the whole range of frequencies and have the core algorithm find the most resonant frequencies. And you see there's a lot of buttons here, but don't be confused or concerned. There's only one button you have to press, and that's scan for resonance settings. So if I press this here, it selects the time, it selects the waveform, the maximum frequency, and as you can also see, another big difference to all the other Rife therapy methods is that we really work with two channels. That's why we have two halves of the brain. We have two eyes, two ears, and we have everything in symmetry, and that's why we know we can appreciate stereo music. We can estimate distance. We have a 3D vision because we have those stereo effect in all our functions. So that's why we have also two hands, and that's a very important part in the core philosophy, that we need those two polarities to create an interference, and this you can do with the core system. And but it also gives you the possibility to use the same frequencies on both channels. So now, when you don't want to do this in the old way, but you feel Kiran has some truth, you at least want to give it a try. You unselect the single frequency, and then you have the possibility to do all those different modalities. And so what's behind this is the concept that our world really has the um, the linear part and the complex part, the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. The left side is taking details and making complex assumptions, so it's like uh, an inductive process. From very, very limited observations we make big um, assumptions about the whole. Then the right brain works the opposite way. It has a view of the whole, of the bigger picture, and it can deduct from this bigger picture assumptions about the individual case. So now this is really the reason why we have two brains. Now, in every good work we need both brains. It's not that art needs right and physics needs left. No, every good work needs both brains together. And why? Because we need to have a connection to the whole, but then also we need the linear process to bring in our knowledge of our experience. So now there's many experiences of what kind of harmonies, for example, are very powerful, and this is called the scale principle. So when I click on scales, you have all these modules here, and that's only the beginning of modules. We'll produce more of those. This is basically the idea of the harmonic scale. So what is a harmonic scale? You think there's only 10, 20 harmonic scales. No, there's thousands, and every tradition every time had their own specific kind of combination of tones from which they made music, and that's really also an aspect of a resonance of the time, what kind of scale they use. So all the scales have one thing in common: they work between one frequency and its double. So that's an octave. So between one frequency and its double, this is an octave. And how this octave is being divided, that's usually based on integer proportion, like 2/3 and 3/4 and so on. So you can see this in all scale systems, but the different traditions used only certain tones out of these proportions, and then some they use 7 tones, some use 5 tones, some used even only 3 tones. So when you have all the combinations, you can see there's thousands of different possible scales, and in our Western music we use only a very, very few ones. So what we looked here at, what were especially interesting, and there's the symmetrical decatonic and the pyramid hexatonic and the harmonic major, dominant pentatonic, and the chromatic Dorian. But again, this is only the beginning. So what is the system doing now with this? When I select any one of those, let's say the pyramid hexatonic, and then run the system, let's switch this off for the moment, that you have a simple idea of this. So when I do this, then out of this pyramid hexatonic nodes, it uses the core algorithm to find the most resonant sequence. So how this sounds like, I'll show you now. So there's a set time duration for every couple of frequencies of 20 seconds. So you see now this is without panning module, but now we have also the panning function. That's another giving another additional DLE. So we can set here the time, how long it takes to go from right to left here. Let's say it's 5 seconds. Now do the same thing with the panning. So you have to use a headphone to really appreciate this. But this is now just one function here. It's the scale function, which uses here a certain scale and then applies the core algorithm on it and finds the most resonant frequency combinations. So because a frequency combination in a scale is always considered harmonic. Maybe you don't find this harmonic with the pyramid hexatonic, but there were cultures that found this kind of combination of those two tones harmonic. So this is just one. I'll stop here and do another recording for the other functions.